Welcome back to Small Caps, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevenson. I've asked Mark Cossom. He's the Managing Director of Gateway Mining. ASX code is GML. Now, Gateway Mining are over in the Murchison district in WA, and they've got a large project over there. Last time I spoke, in fact, it was probably too long ago. It was August of last year. Apologies, Mark. We must do this more often because you guys you haven't stopped. You're continuing to work. But before we get into the detail of, I guess, where the shareholder value is going to come in 2023, give us a brief overview for those who might not know Gateway, and then we'll get into some detail.
Yeah, thanks, Kerry. It's great to be back. As you said, it's been too long. So hello to everyone.
We won't let that happen again, ladies and gentlemen.
No, let's not. So Gateway, you mentioned before, we're over in the Murchison gold fields of WA. Great part of WA, great part of the world for gold exploration. We've got a 1,000 kilometre squared tenement package called the Montague Gold Project up there, north of Sandstone. It's hosted historic mining in the past. It was mined there by Herald Resources in the 1990s. They mined 5 little open pits there, but not much happened at the ground since that mining ceased in 1993. So, what Gateway's been doing over the last few years on this ground is exploring, and we've been finding lots of gold, really shallow deposits. We've now got over 500,000 ounces of resources there, which we've proved up both around some of these old pits and in some new discoveries we've made. 70% of those ounces are in the top 100 metres. So, these are really shallow discoveries that we've made. And it's an exciting part of WA where we're right smack bang in the middle of a number of existing operations. But, we have a real opportunity here at Gateway to grow this project into a significant resource base and push the project forward.
Why the confidence? Is it the location? I just want to kind of unpack a little bit because there's a great, and ladies and gentlemen, you can go to the Gateway Mining website. There's their investor presentation from February is there, and there's a particular slide in there which will show you exactly where they are, which is, I think, to the west of Bellevue, to the north of Sandstone. Like, you're right in the heart of it. But what gives you such confidence that you're going to not, because you discovered some, and as you say, drilled only down to about 100 meters. What gives you the confidence that you can grow this and give, I guess, shareholder value coming into 23?
Yeah, that's a great question. I guess, there's a couple of factors there. The first is that, the project itself, it's shown that it's got gold mineralisation been mined previously, but for various different reasons, it hasn't had that sustained exploration over the last sort of 25, 30 years. So there's a real opportunity there to do some pretty basic exploration that everywhere else around us was probably, done 15, 20 years ago. So we're sort of playing catch up on this ground. So there's been the history there, which gives us an opportunity to make these discoveries, which we've been doing. So the ground is showing that there's plenty more gold to give up. It just hasn't had the exploration effort put on it over the last 20 odd years. And so for Gateway shareholders, that's an opportunity that we can jump on. And these discoveries we've made, the way we've sort of put them together and understood the type of gold mineralisation gives us real confidence that just like we thought, that they're all related as part of a bigger gold system, which is really important because that gives us the confidence to go and get a bit bolder with our exploration and really start to step out and realise or explore the full potential of this ground, because all the other examples around us, like you mentioned, we're sitting right in the heart of the WA goldfields, and where you have these big gold systems, you get these big gold endowments, and you can make the project a viable economic production centre. So that's really our aim is to unlock that value and do it through the drill bit.
Have you been tiptoeing a little bit, Mark? Because I think we said last time you'd gone down to about 100 metres.
Yep.
Is the strategy to go deeper to try and look for the source of the gold?
Yeah, definitely. That's what we're embarking on now is a real. We're looking for these sort of step change discoveries now. To date, probably tiptoeing is a good way to explain it. We've been exploring around the old mines, so where there's gold and finding your way out from there. And we've we've discovered a couple of new deposits which weren't mined previously. So that gave us a lot of confidence that, you know, it was sort of a low risk strategy, if you like, to start with. It's cheaper drilling near surface. So we edged our way around, and we got up over 500,000 ounces, which is fantastic. But now we're really looking to take it from 500,000 to over 1 million ounces, and we've got that confidence. We're part of a big gold system now, and we really got to be a bit bolder and test these concepts. So we're part of that is looking deeper below these existing deposits, you know, knowing that they are all part of one system. So down there at depth, you know, is where there's a potential big prize that we'll be chasing.
All right. So how do you go about that? How do you, because for those that don't know, it's 1,000 square kilometers.
Yeah.
That's a lot of ground. Do you stay bold, but you stick with the existing areas? And by going bold, do you mean go deeper, or by going bold, do you mean completely new ground?
We're actually going to do both. So one of the big things we've been doing, particularly over the Christmas period, and when we shut down the drill rigs in November last year, we spent a lot of time putting everything together. We've brought in some consultants in Model Earth who are sort of well-recognised industry experts, if you like, in the controls on these gold deposits. And we've started to try and understand what's going on with the deposits that we know, and then apply that understanding. So part of that is to look deeper below the existing deposits and really get a bit bolder. We're using some different techniques this year to help us explore at depth, because it is, you know, it's not near surface, so it's a little bit harder to do. So we're using seismic surveys. We're going to do some deep diamond drilling there with assistance from the state government funding through their exploration incentive scheme. But we're also applying that knowledge that we've got from understanding our existing deposits to elsewhere on the ground. So we're going out and looking along strike to the north particularly. We've just had some tenements granted up there, which means we can get onto that ground for the first time and really explore for repetitions, if you like, of what we've found to date. So, you know, doing a lot of big, broad-scale exploration for new deposits away from those existing mining centres. So, having a bit of a two strategies at the same time, if you like, but it's all part of the overall aim to really make these big discoveries, which are going to jump us from that 500,000 ounce to over 1 million ounces.
All right. I want to know, you've been in this industry for a while, Mark, and I know you really understand gold and how it works, I guess. But what are the hallmarks of a great deposit?
I guess one of the things when you look at big gold systems around WA in particular, and the Archean in WA, when you start to see gold mineralisation in different sort of settings with different host rocks, but you can tie them all back together through some, you know, geological understanding. That's when you know you're in a big gold system, because you know there's lots of gold rich fluids going through all different parts of the countryside and finding different places to deposit. So you're not just looking at one isolated little pocket. You're talking about it covering the gold rich fluids covering a big area of Western Australia, and that gives you the confidence you're part of a big gold system. So the fact that we're seeing these deposits in different host rocks, slightly different deposit styles, even though they're all related, that to me and in my experience, you know, when you're seeing that, you know you're part of a big system that has you know, hopefully got a lot more to give up.
When you're part of a big gold system, I'm just trying to get a visual on this one, Mark. When you're part of a big gold system, do you get excited when you find the source, or do you get excited when it keeps getting bigger, or do you get excited when the drill goes deeper and it gets higher grade? Where's the excitement?
Oh, well, you know, really, definitely when the drill gets deeper and you get better grade. You know, when you try and pull these things together and you get into the heart of the system, you know, that's the exciting bit, because, you know, you really start to unlock the riches there, and particularly, you know, if you get that good grade and what we find with these big systems in WA is they do keep going at depth. When you look at all the big operations in Western Australia, you know, they continue at depth. 20 years ago, everyone thought that these things sort of petered out a bit, and we've been able to show as an industry that they do continue on. So really, that's the excitement. And then from there, you start to expand out and find different deposits further afield on surface, near surface. But the excitement's having that idea, putting the big holes down and seeing it come up. That's definitely when you love doing it.
We spoke before about how you're in the heart of the Murchison goldfields. Literally, you are in the centre, and there's all these like Bellevue Gold and West Gold are around there as well. And West Gold's producing. Bellevue's about to start producing. These guys have got it. They're doing it. When's Gateway? What are you doing in 23 to start to really motor along?
Yeah, well, I guess the first thing is to really get that resource base up. We really think that we can. We've got all the hallmarks of having enough gold in the ground. So once we get there, then we can start, really looking at the economic potential of those deposits. And my background, the background of the board that we've got in place now, we have that expertise in house to start really economic evaluations of building a new gold project. And some of those examples you mentioned before, that's showing that this region has a lot of that potential. There are a number of those existing operations, and Montague has all the hallmarks of a similar type setup. So that's really for us. That's where we go. We get up over 800,000, 1 million ounces of gold. Then you can really start to look at what's the best way of realising that value from the project for shareholders and making the most money for shareholders.
I love that word, making money for shareholders. Love it. You use the word hallmark again. I'm trying to get my head around how you get from the 500 to over 1 million and why you're so confident, because you seem really confident that it's going to happen this year, Kerry.
Well, I'd like to think I am confident. You sort of got to back your own judgment to an extent. So exploration's funny that way. If you're out there drilling holes, you give yourself a chance to find something. And I guess, I really do think that the work we've done has shown that there is a lot of gold here, and no one's been looking for a number of years in this part of WA, and it's sort of on the road that everyone used to drive past between Mount Magnet and Agnew. So this little neck of the woods where we are kind of got forgotten about, but the ground where we are, it's produced over 1 million ounces, up until the early 2000s when mining shut in the local area, and there is that potential there. And we've been showing that there's new deposits to be found, which is really really unique in WA. Like I mentioned before, a lot of places have been through this exploration cycle already, and it's a lot more mature. But we've got a lot of fairly straightforward exploration to be done, and even now that we're looking deeper, it's really the first time that this has been done on this ground. So there's a lot of excitement around what we're going to find and just how big this thing can be.
They're granted mining leases as well, aren't they?
The majority of our deposits that we have at the moment, that's right. They're mining leases that were in place from the mining operations back in the 90s, and a couple of new ones that have been put in place since then. But a good proportion of our tenements are granted mining leases, which obviously makes things simpler as well.
I was about to say, just explain, because not everybody out there understands that. Having granted mining leases means that you don't have to go through and spend money as well. Is that right?
Yeah, look, sometimes the time it takes to turn an exploration lease into a mining lease can be a 12, 18 month, 2-year proposition. That's just the and the money that goes with it. You've got to do various studies and submissions to get those things granted. So having the granted mining leases means that really we can go from discovery to evaluation, in one simple step, and then in theory, then we just have to go through the permitting process for a new mine, and we're away. We don't have to worry about getting the tenements granted. So it takes one step out of the equation that can be quite a lengthy one, and means that really we're just relying on all the technical evaluation and the financial evaluations to kick things off.
I know this is way down the track, and I'm getting slightly ahead of myself, but are there processing facilities around that you would use? Would you truck the ore when it gets to that stage to someone like, I guess, a Westgold, or would you set your own plant up?
Oh, that's really one of the beauties we've got in this project, is that all those options are on the table. We're we're close enough to existing processing plants that are proven at steady state operations, that we can potentially truck our ore to and utilize those facilities. That's an option, but we're still we're in a part where there's of WA where there is if we were to go and decide that the best way to realize that value from these deposits is to build our own plant, we're not going to be doing something that's out of the ordinary. We've got the ability to evaluate both options and really decide what's going to be the best one for the company and for shareholders. So we're not boxed into one particular path forward.
Could you fast track it at all? Could you turn around and say, you know what, we're gonna have a small deposit, and we're actually going to truck the ore to somebody else's processing plant to give us some revenue in the short term? Is that an option for you, do you think?
Look, that is an option. It's something that at the moment we don't favour particularly, just because we think that there's a bigger price to be had for having all those resources available for a more optimal extraction strategy, if you like. But like you mentioned before, we've got granted mining leases which most of our resources sit on, so that means that if we decide that that's a real way to generate some short-term cash flow, and the downside of it isn't too detrimental to the rest of the project, then we can do that. We have that option to go and do a small mining operation, truck the ore, processing plants in the region that will buy it. So that's definitely something that's a live option for us, if we decide that's the best way to go.
All right, I'm talking to you I can't believe it, Mark. It's March. What the hell? It's like, where did January and February go? This is insane. But anyway, we're all saying the same thing at the moment. Talk to us about what the milestones are for current shareholders and those that are looking at Gateway. Where are you going to unlock the value as we literally gallop into the end of the year, as far as I'm concerned?
Yeah, I know. Well, right now we're RC drilling as we speak. Drilling the Caledonian deposit, which is an old pit that was mined in the late 80s on site, and it hasn't amazingly. There used to be a processing plant there on site, and there was a site of pretty substantial mining, but no one's really gone and drilled under the old pit. And this is one of these things I talk about. There's some simple work to be done. So we're drilling under that old pit now. We did a couple of holes in November last year, intersected the structure depth below the pit, gave us enough confidence to go back there. So now we're there with the RC rig, and we're drilling under the entirety of this old pit. So that's pretty exciting. We should have those results. That program will be finished next week. Should have those results in the next sort of 4 weeks or so. So that's coming up for shareholders. So that's really some short-term exploration there, which we're undertaking and should hopefully be really sweet. And then we're kicking off at the end of this month a big soil geochem sampling program, which is really looking to explore the 20 kilometres north of the Montague deposits that we have at the moment. So that's a big part of the tenement package. The structure that hosts the current deposits keeps going up there. This type of work hasn't been done, so we're pretty confident we're going to turn up some big targets there, which will then be able to get into some drilling later this financial year and start to test those new targets, which is really exciting because it gives us the opportunity to find new big discoveries in the same postcode of where we're working at the moment. And then the other major milestone, from shareholders' point of view, we talked about looking deep below the existing deposits. So we're undertaking a seismic survey around our existing deposits, which will give us an idea of what happens at depth with these deposits and where the structures go, so we can then target those deep diamond drill holes, which I spoke about. So there's a few key milestones from a fieldwork point of view, which is going to be happening. There's going to be plenty of exciting news flow coming up, and all this news flow is about finding real step changes to our resource base and propelling this project forward towards our economic evaluation.
My ears pricked up a little bit when you said Montague, which is to the north, isn't it?
Well, Montague's where all the existing deposits are, and then we're looking to the north of Montague, continuing to explore that same structure. So
Okay, so when you talk about a potentially a new discovery, a potentially and by the way, potentially, ladies and gentlemen, not
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
definitive, so it's potential.
Yep.
When you look to do that, is it north of Montague that you're going? I guess what I'm looking for is there going to be a big discovery under existing old mines, or do you think it's virgin ground outside of where you've been currently looking that's going to be a game changer? That's, I guess I'm trying to picture what's
Yep.
getting Mark Cossom more interested, the existing pits and the existing gold that you've found, or
Yep.
something complete virgin new territory.
Um, I guess I can have a bet each way, Kerry, and say both excite me because they're both something new. So, yes, we've got all this ground to the north, which these tenements have only recently been granted. They're brand new tenements, and so we're having a look for the first time. So that's always exciting to get out there and have a look. It's got all the right ingredients, but no one's ever really explored there. So, that's an exciting thing. It's like you mentioned, it's exploration, it's potential, it's nothing certain, but you're getting out there and looking for the first time, and that's really one of the exciting bits about exploration. But by the same token, exploring at depth below our existing deposits, that's also exciting because again, that is new exploration still. It's just in a different dimension, but we're putting together for the first time all these different deposits into one coherent idea and testing for that. I think you spoke before about the source of it all, or the one sort of uniting feature there, and that's what we're looking for. So that's exciting too because that's real geology and real exploration with a big payoff if it's successful. So that's yeah, again, it's something you hope and you dream about, that big that one drill hole that just goes right through the middle, and the core comes up and it shows you what you're thinking is right. So that's the excitement, that's the lure.
I've got to say, there's just there's a change in Mark Cossom demeanor at the moment. I just feel that you're pretty excited about 2023 at the moment. You seem very positive.
Yeah, I think when you get to the point where you go, you know what, this project, it's got everything. We just got to get out there and do it.
Yeah.
And we sort of have been doing a lot of work to make sure that we do it in a measured way and in a sounds boring, but in a real scientific way. But we've done that work. We've got ourselves our strategy for our field work, and we're out there doing it. So now we get to see the results, which hopefully are all pointing in the one direction, which is big discovery, jumping that resource base up and moving this project forward.
So I truly hope you do get that big discovery, Mark, because you've done the work and you're in the right area and you've got a large holding there. And as you say, there's been no work on it. Quick question for you before we finish up, because we're running out of time. Yep. COVID's finished, thank goodness.
Yep.
See, that doesn't get me kicked off. Is it all back to normal over there now? Or have you got challenges with drill rigs and people and labor and all that sort of stuff?
It's pretty much back to normal. There's still a few challenges around labor, but they're definitely getting less and less. It's over the course of last year and definitely early this year, those things have started to free up considerably. One of the big changes we've seen, everyone talked about issues with assay laboratories last year particularly, and we got caught ourselves, and that was really frustrating. Those types of bottlenecks are definitely disappearing, if you like. They're not completely gone, but they are definitely a lot miles better than what they were. Drill rigs are pretty good. We were able to get drill rig on site without too much hassle, and they're good contractors that we've used before. So we've got the right people in place. So we're definitely out of those COVID complications that really hampered the industry over here. There's a few little residual effects, but really it's freed up a lot, and we're able to get out and get on with what we need to do.
It's all steam ahead at the moment. RC drilling is starting to happen. Lots of exploration work going ahead for Gateway Mining. Mark, give me 3 reasons why people should be sitting up and taking notice of Gateway in 2023.
Well, I think, Kerry, gold. We've discovered gold. We're going to find more gold. we've got the team to work out and know what to do with that gold. And really, we've got almost an unmatched opportunity for shareholders with our location. So, the project, the team, the location, it's a great company.
It is a great company. And as they always say, location, location, location. They are at a great location. As I said before, go to the Gateway Mining website and have a look at the February investor presentation. You'll see it's a really good presentation, but there's one particular slide I love, which shows exactly where they are and what they're doing. And it's in when you see who's around them, you have that aha moment. Anyway, for now, Mark, great to see you. Results coming out in about 4 weeks. So that'll be interesting times. If it gets really uber exciting, come back and we'll have another chat. But for now, thanks for joining me on Small Caps today.
Thanks, Kerry. I look forward to seeing you next time.